Okay, so after doing a lot of searching that I annoyingly did before, I've come to a few conclusions. One, the Gen 5 exhaust manifold design is kind of a mix between short cast and tubular. And I'm just going to say tubular because I think the tubular is a little bit closer and we need the extra horsepower. Now, before, I know you've seen the numbers. Wait. It's not that simple. So, we're going to go with the tubular. I think it's a little bit closer, and we need to be able to get the horsepower numbers, and this is one of the easier ways of doing it. Secondly, the Gen 5 does not have high flow cats as standard, because that's actually a mod, an aftermarket modification you can do on these engines, which I forgot about, so just standard three-way. I don't know about the baffled or straight through. Again, as far as I saw from the photos I looked at, the muffler, the first muffler, the only muffler, looks more like a baffle design to me than a straight through because it's more round, so I'm going to stick with that. As much as I'd like to get a little additional horsepower, that much, not going to happen. But it is what it is. And then lastly, I can't figure out the exhaust diameter. The closest I can, the closest, or the closest I can get as far as information is concerned is that the car has a 2.5-inch inlet and a 3-inch outlet on the exhaust. Now, if only I knew what that meant. I have no idea what that means, though. So, I'm very tempted, as much as it might not be accurate, I am extremely tempted to go with the 3-inch exhaust diameter. And the other thing about that is, I can't go to where the inlet is and where the outlet is and say, okay, I want 2.5-inch here and 3.5-inch here. In automation, it's the entire exhaust system. Look. See that? The entire exhaust system gets changed. So because of that, I have a decision to make. I'm either going to go with the 3-inch exhaust diameter, or I'm going to stick with the 2.5-inch, 2.5-inch exhaust diameter. I'm personally thinking I'm going to go with the 3-inch, as much as I honestly don't want to, because I don't think that's truly accurate. I can't get the horsepower numbers I'm looking for. I can't do it. Even if I bring the cam profile up just shy of that and get it up to 600, which I might be able to do. Nope, can't do it. I can't get it up to 600. So, because of that, because I can't even get it up to 600, I really don't think it's worth being under like that, being below the horsepower number, just to be a little bit accurate. Now, if I did bypass valves, well, then look at that. But the Viper doesn't have bypass valves. It has side pipes. It doesn't need bypass valves. It doesn't have any electronics for that. So, because automation, especially when it comes to like pushrod engines, it seems to underestimate their capability to me. Though, in fairness, there's a bunch of other things they did to the Gen 5 engine to get that additional horsepower, which you just might not be able to do in automation because you don't have all that much flexibility. It's a worthy sacrifice, and I think that's the case. So, as much again as I don't want to, because I don't think it's accurate, I'm gonna have to go with greater exhaust diameter so that we can get the power that we're looking for. So, we have the power I'm looking for. That's good. Only drawback, we have way too much horsepower now, and not actually we have too much torque as well, but we have way too much power for sure. So, what I want to do, I think what I'm going to do anyway, is either reduce the cam profile or I'm going to reduce the ignition timing. The ignition timing will give us less torque and less horsepower, but the thing is, I want the horsepower to come on sooner, and I need the torque to come on a little bit later, and I'm not sure if changing the ignition time is going to give me that change. Okay, we're at 600 pound-feet of torque, 647 horsepower. That's good, but it's not great. And I suppose we could go to 645 because the engine was re-rated in 2015. They didn't gain horsepower, it's just that they re-rated the engine, kind of changed their methodology, and found 5 more horsepower. So we could even go to 645 if I want to, and I kind of want to, but even still, I think we have to change the cam profile. Yeah. Once again, that just makes the torque come on sooner, and that's not exactly what I'm looking for. And we gain more torque as a result as well. So maybe I don't know. Do we actually go up on the cam profile and then go over here and reduce the ignition timing? I'm not sure. Okay, we're definitely not gaining torque. So let's do that. Bring it up a bit. See, there you go, 5,900 RPM. Horsepower is pretty close to where we want it. But the torque isn't anywhere close, and that's the annoying part. That's the part that bugs me. Turn my nightlight feature off here. Yeah, I'm recording rather late. Okay, good. Yeah, so it's tricky. It's very, very tricky here. Let's see. Let's get the torque back. Because I do want that. Okay. But you see how peaky it is? This is a bad power band. Peak torque lasts for a handful of RPM at best. So I'm going to argue, let's set everything back into the middle and kind of start over here, work from neutral. See what we can get. Let's go back to 15 and maybe bring the fuel mixture back to roughly 13 where it's normally at. Okay. See, this is a better power band. You get near peak torque for I didn't want to... Oh, wow, you can... I did not know that. Okay. In any case, though, you get peak torque for for a much greater duration of the power band. This is kind of what you want. Peak torque is roughly here, but you still get a ridiculous amount of torque elsewhere. And so that's what I'm looking for here, though, with 600 pound-feet of torque, is something like that. Now, if we go up here, we're getting a lot of torque. Horsepower is kind of fluctuating. We're getting a lot of torque, though. So we're going to bump it by 20, the ignition timing. Then we're going to go right here to the cam profile, get all our horsepower back, because we don't need the torque as much. If we bump that by 20 as well, relatively even for torque and horsepower. But again, that power band is a little disappointing. Now, what I've forgotten to look up, because I did want to look it up. Let me find Google on my phone here. I wanted to find the Gen 5 power band. I wanted to see what that looked like, because I've kind of forgotten. I think it's pretty okay. Not especially unusable. Okay. Dyno chart. That's what I'm looking for. I want to get as close to that as possible if I can, whilst also making it usable. Hopefully they have the one that FCA put out as a press image. I'm not sure where it is. Is that it? That's a version of it. But the reason why I wanted to use the FCA version specifically, is because in my mind, let's see, power chart. Now, in some cases, those numbers may be inflated, don't get me wrong, but the reason why I think that those numbers might be the most accurate is because they might have taken into account elevation and everything else, right? Here we go. I want to get to the truest number of the Viper's power. I want to get the truest graph of the Viper's power band, and to me, that's the one that FCA did. And unlike Ferrari, with its claimed downforce on the 458 Italia, Chrysler doesn't tend to falsify their numbers, at least not as much. Okay. Okay, so the torque band on the Gen 5, the power band on the torque side for the Gen 5 is a lot higher. It's not, annoyingly though, it's not as, according to FCA anyway, it's not as smooth as the Gen 4. It's a lot peakier. It's fairly normal, kind of goes up and down, and then it really climbs. It climbs very quickly once you get to 4,000-ish RPM, and it doesn't last as long. With the Gen 4, this might be a bit sensationalized, but with the Gen 4, allegedly, the 560 pound-feet of torque lasts. It's a more linear power band, and it lasts for longer. Whereas with the Gen 5, it creates like a mountain, and it creates this hill above 4,000 RPM, which is interesting. The power band is pretty much the same. The horsepower, I mean, the horsepower part of the power band is pretty much the same, but the torque band is different. So what I currently have here is not exactly representative. What we need is a dip from here to we need a we need a dip from here to here, like a decrease actually, and then a huge peak from here to here roughly. That's what we need for it to more accurately represent the real thing. Power, the horsepower part, which is the blue line, mostly the same. It just needs more power. So let's increase the ignition timing a good bit. Okay, and then let's increase the cam profile. Get the horsepower. Okay, that was too much. We're going to keep it at 75. I'm going to go here. We're going to go back to the ignition time and keep going. Keep going. Okay. Yeah. Now, that's the chart I'm looking at, the graph, is FCA's version. I could go back. Let's see. 2013. Okay. I could go back to when it was all the independent versions and see what the car looks like. All right, let's see. Power is the dotted line. Torque is the solid line. Yeah, the torque does peak a little bit. Not as much as on the FCA graph, but it does peak a little bit. The horsepower does peak a bit, and then it kind of trails off a little bit later. Okay. Which is interesting. Kind of gets on a bit early, actually. Yeah, that's rather interesting. Let's check another chart, or another graph, I should say, see what we've got. Let's see, which one's the torque? I don't know which one the torque is. Probably, well, the lower one, obviously. Yeah, no, IRL, the torque is pretty good. It doesn't really peak the way the FCA graph made it out to. It does fluctuate a bit, but it's pretty stout for the most part, and then it starts peaking a little bit higher up. But yeah, and then the horsepower, yeah. So ours is close. My current power band is close. So what are we at? 602. Okay. And that's with the ignition timing all the way. That's just the ignition timing. I totally forgot about the fuel mixture. And that's just going to increase the number. So we could even have it pretty lean, which isn't true to the IRL car. It's actually, the car will start lean, and then once the cam and cam kicks in, and you get that, as Jack Bruce called it, demented redline rush above 4,000 RPM, that's when the car starts running a little bit richer, if I remember correctly from owner's forms. Okay. See, the problem we have now is that the fuel mixture is way too lean. We need it a bit richer, but we're nearly at the power we need without it. So we're going to go like that. We're going to change this. Yeah, that's good. Well, I mean, I don't like that. The curve on the torque. I don't really like that. But, all right. There we go. And then up that. I'm really just trying to get the torque to come later on. Okay, good. We're gonna go back. I'm gonna up that. We're really close to the horsepower number. We're kind of getting away from the torque number, unfortunately. Okay, now we're under. Now we've gone too far the other way on the torque side. So let's keep going. Horsepower's close. Torque is close. Keep going. I can't get the torque to come later on. Not like I want it to. Okay, now we're over the horsepower mark. We're going to go under on the ignition timing just a little bit because we were 645, which is close. Okay. So that's that. But you see, once again, that makes the torque peak more than I want it to. Okay. We're close on the torque. We are so close on the torque. What was it? This one? Yeah. Keep it going, and then we're going to go under on the ignition timing. Keep going under. Yep. Now, we can't go any higher on the fuel mixture. Not reasonably, anyway. So that's done. I could maybe live with 4,800, because that's pretty close. Okay, there we go. The torque is now 590 at 5,900. That's good. The horsepower is good, but the 590, that's not enough torque. That's bad. So if we keep doing that, up the ignition timing, we'll maybe get the torque we want. Horsepower is over the mark, though. Okay. There you go. If we do that, are we going to get any torque back? No. At this point, maybe what we can do is reduce the cam profile. Alright. So we're at the right torque, we're just at the wrong horsepower. So what we'd probably do here, let's see, because the cam profile disproportionately affects the horsepower positively and disproportionately affects the torque negatively. If you go up on the cam profile, you'll get less torque and it'll come later on. Whereas with the horsepower, it's clearly not coming on earlier, but you are going to get more power. So ideally what we'd actually do is reduce the cam profile a little bit like that, and then increase the ignition timing. Would we increase the ignition timing? No, to offset. No, we would decrease it, probably. This is exactly what I meant by that balancing act. Okay, down on the torque, down on the fuel mixture, or the ignition timing. I got it now. But yeah, this is exactly what I meant by it's a very fine balancing act. One thing at a time. Or nearly one thing at a time, right? Okay. Okay, that's 601. Too much and it comes early on. I'm going to do that. That's 604. That's more than I want, but we'll see. See, now we're getting more torque, actually, which is not what we want. So 88. Just a little more power. Okay, a little more power. See, now we're under a little bit. Now we're under in the way I don't want to be under. God, it's so difficult. Now, sometimes if you do this, you'll actually get more power because, better technology for one reason or another. But yeah, God, this is tough. This is actually difficult, trying to figure it out. I did premium. It wouldn't be ultimate, and honestly, that's not changing anything. I'm kind of at a loss, because what I really dislike is that the power comes on so late. You get, let's see, because 6,200 RPM, you get 638. I mean, that's basically 640, and it was a re-rating earlier, so it's not like you aren't getting pretty much the full force of the engine anyway. I just don't like that the full force of the engine is once you hit the rev limiter. That's what I dislike. And if you do that, you get more power, but and we could do that. And look, you're pretty much there, but meh. Okay. That's that. But I dislike how early the torque comes on. If I could get that extra 100 RPM, like I had before, I guess I should have wrote those settings down. I could live with that. Okay. So we're a little under on torque and a little under on power. If we do that, we're going to be okay. Now, if I go in the opposite direction, see, that's exactly where we started. Okay. Last time. Start over. We're going to just get as close as we can, within 100 of the target, for the torque at least, 100 RPM of the target, and then leave it. So, we have a lot of torque, not enough horsepower. We're going to bring the horsepower closer. We're going to get it into at least the 600 range, if I can do that. And then, okay, now what we're going to start doing. See, because the nice part, as you can see, is that the horsepower comes on almost when I need it to. So what I was going to say is that now that we've got this, we're going to go to the cam profile again. and start increasing the numbers there. But actually, why don't we go even further here and see how far we can get? Maybe get the power to come on as early as possible. What would 100 do? Okay, so the ignition timing makes it come on really late, so that's not what I want. Where was, yeah, there was, okay. And, okay, cool. Now, cam profile. Cam profile is gonna make the torque come down, it's gonna make the power come up, and it's making the power, yep, okay. Is there anything else I can do to potentially... I forgot I didn't change the fuel mixture. No. We are losing power and torque, but it's not really helping. I mean, I guess it is, actually. If we go... Because the problem is, I can't go higher on the cam profile. That's the problem. Otherwise, the power's going to come on too late. And I guess it's always going to come on late anyway, so... If we keep going, okay. Because that's the thing here, is that with the cam profile, we're going to get more horsepower as it is. So if I can sacrifice when the horsepower comes on a little bit, and then go to the cam profile and up it, and then keep going, okay, there you go. And then start dropping the ignition timing as a response, get it to come on earlier, like that, no. So 87 is the ignition timing that makes the power come on at 5,900 RPM. Let's keep going down, see what we can get. Okay, 87 is the number we're looking for. Okay, now, up again. Okay, horsepower starting to creep up. Let's go down a bit. So what was it? It was 87, 6,200 RPM. You know, hella horsepower, but no torque. If we go 1 under, that's a little bit better. See, we have 600 pound-feet of torque for that tiny bit and then nothing, and I want it to last for longer than that. So this, okay, that I like. We're a little over on horsepower. Let me see. Hopefully I have... Okay, cool. I still have Google Chrome open on my phone here. Where... Drag time? Sure. Yeah, so even on the IRL card, doesn't last for... The peak torque doesn't last for that long, but... It's still... It lasts for a little bit. What could we do? Because we can't do that. We'll gain a lot of torque, but we can't do this either, because that changes the power band. Okay, fuel mixture maybe? We could, I guess, yeah, make it more rich. Lose the horsepower. Or, actually, there you go, go under! Yay! There you go, 601 pound-feet of torque, there you go. A little bit, there we go! Okay, I can live with that. Woo! Oh, God. Okay, now, I don't know, valve. Oh, I see. Chrome. What's it? Aluminum? Yeah, we're going to leave it as aluminum. Yep. Bolts. Don't need the bolts changed unless we made them like a gold or something, which would maybe be cool. All right. 545 pounds. Automatic testing. Let's go. Yeah, it just doesn't rev out, but we knew that. But yeah. Does still sound good, though. All right, cool. So that is that. Now, what I want to check, if I can find it. Oh, wait. I need to change this. Actual Gen 5 V10. Post 15 recalib. There we go. Now, if I'm gonna say I exited. What happened? I just wanted to save. Oh, thank God. Okay. I thought the game crashed. I'm like, I'm just trying to save. Okay. Resume. Resume. Thank you. What I was gonna say is that I wanted to check. Let's see, power and efficiency. Efficiency goes down. Yeah, whatever. I wanted to check what the throttle response was like. But I can't see that here, I don't think. You have your flow bench, the exhaust. That's fine. Yeah. Well, there you have it, everyone. That is my oh, wait. It's somewhere down here. Throttle response, 88! Let's go, noise. Kind of quiet, cooling good, performance index. I guess that's good, I don't know. Service cost, reliability, hell yeah. Yeah. There you go, everyone. That is my redone. Why are you still... There you go. That is my redone Gen 5 engine. I hope you all enjoyed. This one was a long one. This was a difficult one to figure out. Let's actually compare it for a second to my older one. So, where is it? Before I end off. Okay, here's the post-clone clone. So that is 644.9, as you can see. 6,400 RPM. And then that is 601.4 at 4,500 RPM. This, less torque, more horsepower. A lot more horsepower, actually. I should maybe fix that. Because that's a bit more accurate. Arguably. And then that other one's got, I think it's got race headers on it. But these numbers are a lot closer. The weight, this one's actually a lot lighter. That's interesting. Let's see. The cost of what? Material cost, 13. Alright, so this one's more expensive. That's fine. Throttle response is 88 on this one. 59.9. See, that was one of the things that bothered me about this engine, was its really lackluster throttle response. It was barely 60. This is much better. This is what you should see for a naturally aspirated engine. Let's see. Smoothness, that is 73.3. This one's smoother. But yeah, and then cooling, this one requires more cooling. That's fair. Performance index, I guess this one is a little bit lower. My old one, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised how much heavier this one is, though, compared to that one. I wouldn't have expected that. Maybe because of the exhaust differences, but as you can see, both are exactly the same size, 8,382 cc, or 512 cubic inches. Yeah. Noise. So yeah, and this one I guess is actually quieter, probably because I have the mufflers and stuff on it. But yeah, that engine, the only thing I may be mad about is that it's pretty much 646, but, you know, who really cares? Yeah, I'm very pleased about that. We got the throttle response we've been needing. So in any case, I hope you all enjoyed this rather lengthy episode. Automation can be a bugger. We're trying to get the power band right and all that stuff. You guys know that. In any case, though, if you enjoyed, please make sure to like, comment, share, and consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Please make sure you hit the little notification bell, and then all notifications that way you're notified every time I upload. I will see you